Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to get started, so I'm going to give you mute you all. All muted. Right, ladies and gents, Bob, you ready to go? Jacket's coming off already, so we've even got you warmed up. So when you're ready, let's just find ourselves some space. And again, before we start, just make sure the floor around your feet's clear, so there's no risk of slipping or tripping over anything. So let's get started first of all. Set positions, please. So you have your hands just by your thighs, heels directly below your hips, and just soften and relax your knees. When you're ready, take a nice big breath in, let it roll up your spine right to the crown of your head. And as you breathe out, just relax your shoulders down. We're going to start now pelvic tilts. So when you're ready, little lift with the tailbone and gentle tuck in under with your tailbone. So we want to just feel a little rock through the pelvis. We're trying to keep the ribs still, upper back nice and long, and just feeling a mild stretch into the lower back area, and hopefully a little bit of core activation at the same time. So you're multitasking first thing. If you can make those tucks a little bit bigger, imagine you're pointing your hip bones up towards the ceiling, and imagine pointing them downwards towards the ground. We're going to settle midway between those 2 points. So your hip bones are facing forward, tailbone ever so slightly tucked, and hands back by the thighs. As you breathe in, take a little lift of the shoulders, and then breathe out to roll them back and down. And I just realised while you're all blurred, I've still got my glasses on. So feel the shoulders pull right up towards the ears. Feel a mild stretch across the top of the shoulders, and feel the muscles switching on down the back of your body as you pull your shoulder blades right down towards your back pockets, as if you're sliding your hands down towards your knees. And then once more. Movement into our side bends. We're going to gently ease to our right, up tall in the centre, and then over to the left. Now as we move in from side to side, we're trying to keep the hips still, the weight evenly placed through both feet, and then just be aware of your head. Your ear wants to stay in line with your shoulder. Tailbone ever so gently tucked under, so we're keeping that connection to our glutes and our lower abdominals. Bend, it feels okay. You can gently increase that range of movement even. Maybe stretching the hand down a little bit further. And once more again, each side. So as we rest into centre, we're going to stay in our set position. Just going to let a couple more people in. And then what we're going to do is some side sways next. So keeping the weight and the feet flat on the floor, keep the weight even between both heels. And we're going to let our weight shift to our right foot, into the centre, and then over to the left foot. You're still pulling right up through the crown of the head. A little bit of softness through the knees. And then we're going to add a little bit of balance if you're ready. So the next time we sway to our right, just take a little lift of your left heel, place it down, sway over to the left, and let the right heel lift. So we're just trying to wake up the balance muscles, bringing the weight from one side over to the other. And then if you want to wake them up a little bit more, instead of lifting the heel, let the knee come up this time, just in line with the hip, toe to floor, heel down, and then sway. So let the heel lift first, pull up with the knee, toe to the ground, and then sway to the other side. Now to bring that awareness back into your shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades back and down. So we're going to work to keep our shoulders away from our ears as we add in the arms. So we're going to lift both arms just to shoulder height, no higher. And you're trying to maintain lots of length in your spine. Always keep the standing knee soft, because that's going to make the muscles around the knee joint work to help stabilise the knee. As you keep a little tuck under with your tailbone, that's going to keep our lower abdominals switched on, to keep that stability to our pelvis. And again, let's do that once more to our left. Let the remaining two in. And then when you finish that last one, you can just settle in centre. Some rotation with a little step next. So your feet are hip distance apart. You're going to bring your hands up to your chest, step your right foot forward. Back heel is lifted. Turn to the right, into the middle, and step back. So then your left foot forward, both knees slightly soft. And as you turn the head, keep the neck nice and long. And if it feels uncomfortable with your arms, you can just let your hands rest over your chest. But let's bring the focus into our hips. When we turn, we're trying to keep the hips really square to the front, so it encourages that rotation through the back. If you're lifting the arms, don't lift the shoulders, keep the shoulders relaxed. And you want to feel that about 80% of your weight comes into your front foot. That's going to make the balance muscles start to work around your glutes, stabilising the hips as we twist. Once more here. And then we're going to come into everyone's favourite, tandem stance. Let's place our right foot directly in front of our left. Imagine you're stood on a tightrope. If you find this a little bit too wobbly, you can bring the big toe just to the side of the heel to make your base a little bigger. Once you're in your position, soften the knees, let the weight come even, and tuck under with the tailbone. Arms are going to come up to shoulder height. We're going to make sure our ribs stay softly down, and we're going to gently start to open with the arms. Now you can keep your range nice and small, because the first thing you're focusing on is keeping the stability and stillness through the spine. That's going to make sure all the movement stays in the shoulders, and all the deeper muscles are working hard to keep everything else still. You can gently increase that range, bringing the arm up towards the ear, opposite arm back just behind the hip, and again once more each side. And then when you finish this last one, you can bring both arms down. Change feet. So your left in front of your right this time. Back on your tightrope. You have to juggling on your tightrope. I will save that for another week. Tuck under the bottom. Relax the shoulders. Bring the arms to shoulder height. Now start to move the arms again. Again, awareness of the stillness of your spine. Gently drawing the abdominals in. Now you can either stay exactly where you are, or maybe try and close your eyes. You'll feel all those deeper muscles working so much harder as we take away our visual feedback. Tummy buttons softly drawing back towards the spine to maintain your balance, your core connection. Open the eyes if it's too wobbly. And again, let's just do that one more on each side. And then when you finish your last one, you can bring both arms down and you can step your feet back out. So bringing the feet back underneath the hips. Starting in our set position from here, we're going to work into lunges. So just check you've got your tailbone tucked under and not an exaggerated curve in your lower back. So again, we need our tummy muscles switched on and our glutes. Hands on the hip, we're going to start with our right leg. Step back, bring the shoulders back above the hips and lower your back knee. Rise and then just step forward. What we're going to search for first of all is a stretch through the front of the thigh. So we're trying to make sure we keep a nice upright position so it opens the hip and it stretches the thigh. Then you want to be aware that your front knee stays directly above the heel. And if you're not getting a stretch there, you can allow your back knee to come a little deeper. And then breathe in. Try and breathe out as you step forward. You only feel that weight stays in your front heel. So when you step forward, you want to get that sensation of pushing down through your front heel and driving yourself back up. One more on each leg, and then we're going to stay on one leg and we're going to get that stretch a little bit more. So the next time you step back with your right leg, stay with your right leg back. Lower your back knee a little so you've got a mild stretch down the front of the thigh here. Bring the arms to shoulder height. Keep your balance. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, just lift both arms without the ribs flaring. Back in line with the shoulders and into your thighs as you rise. So bend the knee to shoulder height. Arms come a little higher. Back in line with the shoulders and then push up through the front heel. Now breathe in. Breathe out to stretch the arms. Breath in and out with the lift. So making sure the feet stay hip distance apart. That'll definitely help with your balance this morning. Maybe mine included. And I think we're good for another 2 on this side. So if you can gently increase that range of movement but again, don't force anything. Just trying to gently warm and open up the body. Step forward. Oh, perfect. Other leg. So take that step back. Again, if you step this foot behind your front foot, it's going to be really hard to balance. So just by keeping the base nice and big with the feet shoulder width apart, that's going to help. Tuck back under the tailbone, so again, looking to open the hip. Breathe in, lower the back knee, lift the arms. Breathe out to lift the arms higher if it's for you. And then rise. So moving nice and slowly to make sure we're able to keep nice posture through our upper body. If your front knee starts to gently roll in, keep pressing the front knee out towards the little toe. That's going to really switch on these outer thigh muscles and gives a lot more stability through our movement. You can deepen the stretch whenever you're ready, but not to a point of discomfort. Just a nice big yawn. Oh. And then when you finish that last one, step together. Shake your legs because you're ready for squats. So a squat we use for getting up and sitting up and down out of a chair. We're going to start the feet hip distance apart, under with the tailbone, and a nice long back to begin. Gently roll the shoulders down. As you breathe in, hips sit back, arms to shoulder height, and then breathe out on the way back up. So as we squat, the first thing that moves is the hips. As if you're going to sit your bottom back into a chair, and then bring your awareness back to your shoulders, so the shoulders don't rise up towards the ears. You can imagine you're passing a beach ball to somebody in front of you. So you're keeping your chest nice and high, tummy gently drawn in, and once you've got all that perfected, just bring your awareness back to your knees. So your knees should be tracking in line with the toes. If the knees are rolling in a little, just gently squeeze them out towards the little toes, and again we get more work through those outer thighs. You won't stop, keep going. See, I can see you still. And a couple more there. Take a little breath in as you come into your squat. And use that out breath to power forward through your glutes. Breathe in through the nose. And out on the way up. You can stay in the middle now. You can have a rest. Feet come back into the hips. And we're going to take it to strengthening with a single leg squat. So if you'd like to bring your left leg forward. And when you bring your left foot forward, it's just about a foot in front of your other foot. Square the hips, keep the left foot resting lightly, tuck under the bottom, same movement. As we breathe in, we pull the hips back, sweep the arms forward, and push down through the heel to bring the hips into the shoulders. Breath in through the nose, pause, now breathe out, push down through the right heel. So you can see the hips moving back, back, pausing, and then squeezing the bottom to drive the hips forward. If this is not challenging enough, you can lift that front foot just an inch off the floor so it hovers. Feel the movement back into the hips, and feel the strength as you push down through the heel and lengthen back into your spine. You've only got 3 left on this leg. Keeping the chin tucked in. And once more, drawing the shoulders back and down, sit right back into the hips, and then push out the heel. Oh, that's worked the bottom up. Just the other side to wake up now. So when you're ready, it's your right foot this time that comes forward, squaring the hips, tucking under with the bottom, and a little roll into the shoulders to begin. Just that awareness of our shoulders staying down. Breathe, bring the arms forward, hips push back and pause. And push down through the heel as you rise. So when we push the hips back, it's like stretching a really big elastic band. And then you're squeezing the bottom to drive the hips right back under the shoulders. So the more you stretch into the bottom and load the bottom, you're going to get a bigger range of movement, and you get stronger through that range of movement too. If you want to, you can lift that front foot. Lots of breath in. Strong breath out. Try and breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. And again, don't worry too much about the breath. As long as you're breathing, I'm happy this morning. One more time. and then step your feet back together, giving the legs a little shake out. So one more bit of exercise for your balance. We're going to keep both feet firmly on the ground. We're going to come back to our right leg. We're going to take a long step back. Front knee over the heel. If your back knee is bending, I want you to pull your kneecap up so you're engaging the quad muscle down the front thigh. We're going to take a little lean forward so our heart just inside of our knee, and then hands down. Chest lifts and roll the shoulders. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just lift the right arm. In breath to lower. Now nod the chin in. So your eye gaze should be in front of your toes. Your ribs are gently softening down towards the hips. You're starting to feel a warmth around your hip, all into the bottom. So they're the muscles that are working really hard to keep everything still as you move the arms. If you want to make it harder, you can turn the head with the arm. Maybe think about pressing down through your front heel just as you lift the arm. And again, you'll feel the glutes then work that a little bit harder. I'm sure that's what you all want this morning. When you finish that one, you get to step in. Shake your legs. Do the okey-dokey and turn around. Next week, opposite leg. Sign of going mad, isn't it? Talking to yourself. I think Lex is listening. Pull the kneecap up. Tip forward from the hips. Pull right through the crown of your head. And feel like you're drawing your belly button away from your t-shirt. Hands come again, just by your knee. Eye gaze past your toes. Lift the arm when you're ready. So if you're using the breath, it's a breath in to prepare. Out breath with the lift. In breath to lower. Out breath to lift. Press through the heel just as you start to lift the arm. And now be aware that you're not gripping through your toes. If you're not gripping through your toes and your weight stays in the heel, then add the rotation of the head. So your nose just stays in line with the thumb. You're breathing in to ease the arm down and out on the way up. So we're getting stability and balance. We're getting lots of movement again through our spine and through our shoulders. And we're getting a sore bum. This time when you're finished, weight into your front foot and step in. Give your legs another little shake. We're going to work our way down to the floor. So if you're coming down onto a mat or onto your carpet, gently work your way down. And we're going to work with bridges. We're going to keep that fire in our bottom. Just going to bring my phone a little lower so you can all see. Nobody told me yesterday I'm a trouser on the inside out, did they? I'm walking around most of the day before I realised. Right, so bridges we're going to work with next. So there's two parts to bridges. One is about getting the mobility of the spine, and the second part is really strengthening the back of the body. So we're going to focus on the mobility part first. Our setup position. Your feet are head distance apart. Now your heels come a little closer to your bottom, so your heels are almost under your knees. We're going to let the hands just sit by the hips. Draw the shoulder blades back and down into your ribs and soften the rib cage down. Now gently draw the chin towards the chest, so it just lengthens the back of your neck. It's just a pelvic tilt, so everything from our ribs and above is going to stay still. I'd like you to take a breath in. When you breathe out, try and tilt your hip bones up towards your head. And as you breathe in, let your hip bones point towards your knees. You will feel that your lower back here gently imprints the ground, and then here it gently lifts away from the floor. Still aware that our ribs don't move. So it's just that nice mobilising, that movement through the lower back. We're going to take this movement a little higher. So once you've gone into your tilt, start to peel your bottom off the floor till you get to your first rib. Then place each vertebrae down as individually as you can and come back to a neutral spine. So your hip bones point to the ceiling. Feel like a hair hostess. Breath in, breathe out with a tilt, just peeling the bottom, no higher than your first rib, and then place each vertebrae down with control. Just starting to become aware of your knees now. As you start to lift, you may feel the knees want to flare outwards. That just means the outer thigh muscles and the glutes muscles are a little bit stronger than the inner thighs. So by keeping the knees in line with the hips, we're going to keep that work in the inner thighs and give us a lot more stability through the knee joints. Then we can move a little higher. First rib, and then continue to lift roughly to your shoulder blades. Here, we're looking for a line from the knee, the hip, shoulder, and then you're going to place each vertebrae down as gently as possible through the imprint, and then come back to neutral. And that very last bit where you go from imprint back into your neutral position, that's where you should feel a lot more control coming through your abdominals. Now this time, imagine your spine is a string of pearls. And try and lift each pearl up as individually as you can. One, then the next, then the next. Squeeze the bottom, check the ribs are still down. Take a breath in. Now try and place each vertebrae down one at a time. Each pearl being gently placed back on the ground. So much to think about. Breathe in. Breathe out on the way up. Still aware that our knees aren't pressing outwards. Squeeze the bottom here, so we're activating the glutes. And then your own time, just roll back down through each vertebrae. I'm going to ask you to do 2 more there, so I know you've got lots of movement and mobility through your spine. Then we can get to the strength work. So work in your own time through your last one. Still trying to get each individual vertebrae up, 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 up. Squeeze the bottom so you lock in that position. Breathe in and then breathe out. Gently just rolling back down through each vertebrae. Now you get to add on. We're going to come to a double arm pullover. This is going to put more tension on our upper abdominals because we need to keep our rib cage still. So what we're going to do, if you want to have a glance first, you're going to turn your palms in and corkscrew your shoulder blades into your spine and then press them into the floor. Once we've rolled up through our bridge, you're going to keep the hips still, reaching the arms back as far as you comfortably can without letting the ribs pop. So again, if the ribs pop, the upper abdominals aren't doing their job. So then we keep the ribs down, arms come back above the shoulders, and then rolling back through your spine. So we're all going to breathe in to prepare. Slowly start to breathe out as you roll through your spine. Now squeeze the bottom once you're at the top. Take another breath in, reach the arms back overhead. Breathe out to lift the arms. And then take a breath in and still work through each vertebrae as you come back down into your neutral position. Breathe out through the mouth as you rise, vertebrae by vertebrae. Squeeze the bottom. Take a big breath in, don't let the ribs come up. And then breathe out, arms back above the shoulders. And a breath in as you release back down through your bridge. So we're going to just do another 6 there. Be aware of the knees here. Again, they might start to roll out to the edge of your feet, so keep pressing the heels firmly into the ground. Now sometimes we just tend to favour our stronger side. So just before you start to lift, put the weight even through both feet. Try and keep the weight evenly placed as you start to rise up into your bridge. And again, lots more breath. Use the out breath. So as we come to the top of the bridge, get a little release through the hip flexors at the same time. And we're starting to build strength and stability through the back of the body. Not to mention all that lovely stretch and movement through our spine. Big stretch with the arms. And my counting is as good as ever. So I think there's 3 left. If you're going a little bit quicker than me and you've already done your set, you can take a rest. Or you can just carry on till I catch up with my counting. 2 more. It's a nice one, is this? It gives you such a nice feeling all the way through your body. And literally nearly every muscle in your body is having to work to stabilise, starting to strengthen, and then lots of movements. And then a nice stretch at the end. So hug your knees in when you're ready. Just give the knees a little circle in one direction. Just a little bit of movement around the lower back and the hips. And then take the knees the opposite way around. and then you can rest in the middle. Let's start with knee lifts first, and we're going to progress quickly into toe taps, which we've done before. So if you want to go into your toe taps and you know your toe taps, feel free to go into those. Again, we're going to start in a neutral spine, so we've got the feet on the ground. We're going to place our peace fingers on our hip bones, so it's going to give us a little bit of feedback and make sure the hips aren't rocking. So find your neutral position. The feet are a little further away than they were for our bridge, and we're going to keep the knee at 90 degrees. We're going to maintain our neutral spine with a little tucking of the chin. Now when you're ready, breathe in. Use the out breath, lift the right knee just above the hip, and then the in breath, it lowers down. So I want you to imagine that your knee joint has been glued, it's fixed. So you're not bending from the knee, you're focused on moving through the hip. And as we're moving through our hip, we're then concentrating on keeping the pelvis really, really still. Now, when we transition from one foot to the other, that's where you may feel that your pelvis rocks. So imagine you're placing your foot down on an eggshell. Keep it resting on the eggshell as you lift the opposite leg. You then instantly feel so much more work in your lower abdominals. No broken eggs. And that's the chocolate, that's fine. You can always use broken chocolate eggs. Right, so that's your first option. Next option, you can either keep the feet down or bring your knees to 90 degrees. And this is our tabletop position. We've got a soft imprint, your lower back's in contact with the mat, chin's tucked back in, and hands are placed back by the thighs. Knee joints still glued. This time you're going to tap your toe or your heel on the floor and then bring it back in. Now you might feel a little shake of the tummy muscles as you lower the foot down. And what we're mainly focusing on is keeping that connection between the lower back and the mat. If your back lifts away from the mat and your lower back arches, these tummy muscles have lengthened, so they're not engaged and they're not switched on. So work within a range where you're able to keep the lower back in an imprint, even if you only come to here, and then back up. I'm shaking already. Use the in breath to lower, out breath, lead back to 90. Couple more. So again, if you're feeling you're working and the back's still staying off, lifting off the floor, then you can bring the feet down and come back to those knee lifts. We're not done with those lower abdominals yet. So keep the knees at 90. We're going to bring the knees gently in and then push the legs away, not too far. Both knees come in. Press the back down, keep the back down as you extend your legs away. So almost finding the bite in the belly like we do on our clutch. We get to that point where it bites, we don't go any further, and we reset. Breathing it out through the mouth so we get a contraction of the core, and then an in-breath as you bring the knees in. This feels a little bit much with two legs. Just come to a single leg. You might find with a single leg, you can bring it a little bit longer or a little bit lower. And it's just working within a range where you feel the bites, but it's keeping your back safe the whole way through. Shall we manage a couple more? Both legs away if you can. Into the centre. Once more. And then bring your feet down. Extend both legs out long. Just reach the arms back overhead for a second. Taking a stretch. Take your right arm and make it longer than your left. Now your left leg, try and make it longer than your right leg. So we feel a diagonal stretch coming through our midsection. Change sides. So your left arm is now longer, and then your right leg trying to get a little bit further away this time. And then back into the middle. Hugging your knees when you're ready, and take a roll up to seated. So we've got the movement in our back using the bridges. So now we're going to progress our movement by coming into our roll back. So for our roll back, the feet are hip distance apart. You've got lots of length up in your spine to begin. And if you're a little tight through your hamstrings, sitting on a little towel or a yoga block, if you happen to have one somewhere, helps a lot. So we're just going to start with the hands lightly resting on the knees. We're going to come from this I-shaped position, head being a dot, body being a stick. We're going to create a J by just tucking under with the tailbone to feel a mild stretch here down the lower back. Then you're going to lift your chest back up to come back into neutral spine. Breathing in, keeping the eye gaze forward so the ears and shoulders stay in line, and then lift through the chest. So you might feel like you're barely moving. And it's not about how far you move, it's about feeling that stretch, especially in that lower back area. Now from the J, we're going to go a little further to a C. So you tuck under to make your J, then you're going to curve into your spine to create a C, still keeping the eye gaze forward. Chest comes forward, and then we lift. Breathing in, pause, and then breathe out, roll, and lengthen. Try and start from the lower back. Mine's very tight there. It's you lot making me work so hard. A couple more when you're ready. And again, just enjoy the movement. Really good for your spine. And really helps start to move and nourish the discs too. And that's just before the pain factor kicks in. So you've got that movement there. So if you've got any issues with your back and you struggle to come further, just stay with that smaller movement. We're going to stop holding onto the knees. We're going to bring the arms out in line with the shoulders. Chin slightly tucked in, eye gaze forward. Start with your J, tailbone tucks, roll into your C and hold. Lift your right arm, press down. Lift your left arm, press down, come forward with your chest and restack your spine. Now breathe in. Breathe out through the mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, and then breathe out and reset. So again, feel the curve of the spine. Don't let the head move when the arm lifts. And don't let the ribs lift. So you're trying to squash that little bit of space between your ribs and hips. And then you're trying to make sure that space doesn't increase when you lift the arm. So nice strong tuck under with the tailbone. Lots of length all the way up into the fingertips. And if you want to work with two arms at the bottom, you can do a double lift twice. And then roll forward. So you know by now, if you've had enough at any point, come back to one of the easier exercises, if there is such a thing, or just take a rest, which is sometimes nicer. See if you can just edge that ever so slightly deeper and keep the ribs pinned right down towards the hips. I don't know if it's me, it's getting super warm in here. One more. And then roll forward. And at the top this time, you can have a little slump. You can just relax yourself down. Let the chin nod back in. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. So we're going to work with those arm movements and we're going to come back to our toe taps or our knee lifts. So in your own time, when you're ready, gently roll down. You can just let your hands slide down your thighs until you roll back in to your neutral position. Lost my ears. There we go. So what we're going to do is bring the knees back to 90. We're going to start with toe taps and I'll progress. We're going to start with heel lifts and I'll progress to toe taps. Both arms up in line with the shoulders. You're going to lift your right leg. Hold it. Take your left arm back. Keep everything still. Into the centre and then your foot down. So we're lifting left knee, right arm reaching back, lower back just gently down towards the floor. So I'll just do that once more on each side. Trying to keep everything as still as possible, especially when the arm moves. So that's as easy as that one gets, I'm afraid. So let's try the toe taps if you're ready. Knees are at 90. We're going to tap the foot so your right foot comes down, left arm reaching back and holding, and then pulling back into the centre. Now each time as you pull back into the centre, the knee wants to stop directly above the hips. That's making my tummy muscles shake a lot this morning. Probably to do too much talking and not enough controlling. Oh. The good thing is I know exactly how you're all feeling right now, if that helps. Now if you want to, you can start to alternate the arms and the legs. If that feels mentally one bit too far, just stay with that first movement. Either lifting with the knees, tapping with the toes and using a single arm, or working with both. You create that overload. 4 more each side. You want to do 10 more each side, Freddie? Is that what you just said? Is my lip reading not very good? And last one each side. And then hook those knees right back into your chest. Give them a roll again. A nice movement next. Place your feet down. So the heels are just beyond the knees. Your knees, your feet, your thighs are super glued together. You're going to pop your hands on your ribs so you're keeping your rib cage nice and still. Now from here we're going to roll the knees from side to side. So the chin's tucked in, hands are softly placed on your ribs. As we roll our knees to the right, keep your feet glued together so your left foot lifts off the floor, knees and thighs squeezing together. Then come back into the centre and out to the opposite side. Breathing in to gently roll the knees across and then breathing out to come back to the middle. Now as you're rolling your knees, you're trying to keep your rib cage anchored, your shoulders gently pressing into the floor. So again, that's going to encourage the movement and the stretch through the lower back, right around into our waist. And again from here, you've got options. You can keep your feet down on the floor and just enjoy working with this nice rotational movement. Or you can add a little bit more bite into your belly. You can bring the knees above the hips. Still got the knees and the feet glued together. Hands are softened down onto the ribs. And the knees roll to the front, into the centre. And again, it's not about how far you can take the legs. It's how still you can keep the ribs. We can all let the legs roll further, but then the shoulders are coming off the floor. So it's about stability through your upper body. Lots of mobility and movement through your lower back. And then you want one more level. You can extend your legs out, bend them as you come back into the middle, extend and bend. Breathing in and breathing out. Squeeze up through the thighs. Keep your shoulders pressed down. Bring your feet down if you need less. Don't force yourself too far. Think about the ribs. Shoulders hopefully relaxed as they can be. And once more to the opposite side. And then again, just gently hooking the knees back in and have another little release. How time flies when you're having so much fun. But you will be glad to know we've saved time for a plank. It's not a side plank today, it's a proper plank. So when you're ready, just gently roll up. Not too quickly, in your own time. Oops, stood on the dog. We're going to take a turn over. And what we're going to do for our plank position, is bring your elbows in under your shoulders. Now, if your elbows are forward of your shoulder, when you lift into your plank, there's no stability to that shoulder joint. So when Lexi moves, I'll show you. Bring your elbow in under the shoulder, so you've got a nice 90-degree angle. Knees are hip distance apart. You're going to draw your belly up to your spine, and then pull your hips up, so they're just in line with your shoulders. Now, eye gaze is down, feet hip distance apart, and tuck under your toes. You see, just slightly tucked there. Now, you can either stay and hold this position as long as you comfortably can. Whatever you feel it in your tummy, that's fine. If you start to feel it in your back, you need to either tuck under your tailbone a little bit more so you're lengthening through your lower back, or draw your belly button right up away from your t-shirt. And once you've got that, you can either stay or rest. You can try, lift your right knee off the floor, and then lower the knee back down. Now it's just the knee that lifts, the foot stays down. And when you bring your knee down, it's back on the eggshell, I'm afraid. Oh, that works so much harder. Keep that length all the way through the back. Keeping the shoulders just sat off the elbows. Breathing into lower. Out to extend, pushing back into the heel. Are we all still going? In for a penny, in for a pound. Should we do a last man standing or last man lying? Last man planking.